828 brings us some interesting line names. Today we are looking at the fifth line, and it is called Treachery. This is one of those lines that can be deeply misunderstood by other people, and there can be some word prejudice around it too. The universalization line of the 28 is called Treachery, and it's a wicked name, really, but it's not wicked at all, not when you really look at it. The job of this fifth line is to universalize struggle. Their job is to get everybody to struggle for the value of life. At the highest level, if you look at the highest principles, that's what these people are doing. They get other people to struggle in order to find out for themselves that life is worthwhile. They provoke them in that sense. The lifetime learning says the abuse of trust. All fifth lines are rooted in the general and the heretic, and they're rooted in practicality in times of crisis. Here, the 28th gate wants to see that life is of value, and in order for it to see that, it's always ready in times of crisis, which in this case is the moment when it's not of value, there's no value around. The crisis then brings it to seek what is of value. This leads to a classic 28 line 5 situation, really. Imagine somebody who wants to take up yoga. They find a yoga teacher who they love. They find value in the classes. The yoga feels good. Everything's terrific. Everything's wonderful. And then one day they're having coffee with a friend, and this 28 line 5 learns that there's a new yoga teacher in town and that they're even better than the original one. And so they leave their yoga teacher, the one they've been very happy with, and they immediately go and check out this new one. The yoga teacher that they leave behind feels betrayed. In their eyes, the 28 line 5 is a treacherous being. They even left. They left me. They were so happy. And they didn't say goodbye. No. Treachery. They feel betrayed. And the 28-5 will always keep looking for something else until they find what is really of value for them in their life. And until you're using strategy and authority, you're never going to know that for sure. You're always going to be looking for the next thing and the next thing. And they don't do it all the time. This is a fifth line. They're not constantly bumping into things like a third line might. This is only ever going to happen in those moments of crisis. In the exaltation, we have the manipulation of the collective that, while pitting one faction against the other, does not directly support or reject either. The intuitive capacity of the game player to provoke struggle amongst others. The moment that they go from one place to the other and they leave others behind, there's a struggle. And you get all of this political stuff that comes out. It's all a projection, of course. The seeking of revenge and, all of that stuff. It's a projection, but it still happens. And it's not about winning or losing. This is about making sure that everyone is in the game. That's what's important. This is a universalizing element about dealing with the fear of death. They deal with this fear by getting everybody in the game to struggle about whether life is worthwhile. Somebody with the 28-5 is probing somebody else. It's like, is your life really worthwhile? Are you really doing what you want to do? They can really wind others up, but they themselves do not care. They just want everyone in the game. They want everyone to be in the same struggle. They're hoping that if that's the case, maybe then they will get it too. In the detriment, the breaking of alliances with trusted forces to align with more powerful forces, and its attendant destabilization of the whole. The intuitive recognition in times of struggle to know when alliances must be broken, and its destabilizing effect on others. Its destabilizing effect on me. So this is where they're at their best, really. They go to Krishnamurti, for example, they come back saying, my master is full of light. And then they hear about another master, and so they leave Krishnamurti and they go and join this one. They keep on changing their masters, and every time they leave, the people that they're leaving behind shout, treachery! These are bad people, we can't trust them. And of course, that's not true. For this line, the struggle is endless. If you have struggle in life, you will have it until you die. These people recognize that it is an ongoing process. They surrender to it in that sense. They have one teacher, they think that person is wonderful, and when somebody tells them there's a better teacher, off they go. Because they're trying to get to the point where they find something that really shows them that life is worthwhile, and they will continue to take that risk. And they leave behind a lot of struggles. The person they leave behind who was depending on them, who's saying, why did they go? You know, they are now left with the struggle. Is life really worthwhile because they're on their own now? This is what they do, you know, these fifth line is a great disturber. They just move this out into the world, everybody struggling together. You can only discover if life is of value for you through living out your nature. You can only discover that by being your definition, by being your type and your authority. This is the only way to know. And then your authority will dictate what values are important to you, what values are necessary for you. You can't know any other way. You know, and you can't know how to approach any of these things until you're living out your nature. You really have to wait to be clear. You have to wait within your own matrix, within your own definitions, so that you can be correct, you know, as you enter into anything. And then it's going to work properly. 28 fives are supposed to be treacherous. They're supposed to be, unless or until there's no need for them to be treacherous anymore. You know? And then they don't have to move on and find the next one they can. And they can get there by finding in that moment of crisis exactly what works for them and be fulfilled in that. But what happens is they have to be living out their nature. It's not going to happen otherwise. The grounding is coming from gate 27 in line 5, the executor. This is somebody who is a professional at caring and looking after things. You know, if treachery is a word that follows you around when you're just being yourself, having someone or some energy around you that is able to care for you, helpful. And because these are both line 5s, of course, there's a natural resonance there. There will be a practicality to the caring that will be pleasing to both sides. The moon has been in the Ajna gate 47 since 0202 this morning. Next, it moves to gate 6 at 1328, the solar plexus gate of conflict and friction, where we learn that growth cannot exist without friction. This is a roll gate. It gives us the strategies that we are designed to use in the way that we meet friction in our lives, especially in our relationships. Even if you don't have this gate defined in your chart, you will still have a strategy. You know, look at your profile lines and they will be your guide. Gate 46 is next at 0055, 5 to 1. This is the G center gate of the determination of the self, the love of the body or not. Gate 46 is part of the experiential channel of discovery. It's a gate that works through cycles and through being in the right place at the right time. So that's our practical line 5 for gate 28. Thank you very much for joining me for this one. I will see you for the top of the hexagram tomorrow as we move into line 6. But for now, take care, and as always, go gently.